Okay. Unlike intention setting or New Year's resolutions that often leave us feeling frustrated, this entire process is really meant to be very personal in setting your wishes and intentions for the year. But I added this last year an extra element to the whole entire process where I actually created a journal to go along with the 12 Magical Nights ritual. For me, that was the secret sauce to being connected and staying on track with my things throughout the year. And really just kind of gave me the ability to come back to my goals periodically throughout the year to really dial back into, what had my wishes been, where was I, as far as the progress I was making and things like that. um, a lot of people become very frustrated with resolution setting because resolutions are often born out of guilt and comparison on, I should be doing something, or I should be better at something energy. And it usually focuses on outcomes instead of identity, whereas the 12 Magical Nights, I feel like, really helps to ensure that it's not as if you're setting a goal, but you're connecting on instead into who you're becoming. Um, and often resolutions feel very big and are very vague. I used to, set New Year's resolutions, and then usually most people, forget their resolution by about the third week of January. I switched into goal setting, and then I realized every year I had the same goals, and I wasn't really making any progress. And about 3 years ago, I found this 12 Magical Nights winter solstice process, and for me, it has been exponentially more helpful than a lot of the previous goal setting for the year. Especially once I added in, art journaling on top of that. Um, and so I'm hoping to share with you guys kind of this whole process, and then I'll walk you through everything. And then I'll also show you how I created a custom journal to go with it. So I'm going to switch my camera around so you can see what I'm seeing on the desk, and then we'll go from there. If stop me, since there's a small group today, like if you have any questions as we go through, do not hesitate to ask. I will try to keep an eye on the chat. But let me flip you around. Essentially, you should have received the 12 Magical Nights.
Yeah, I'm unable to hear as well.
Let's try this. Can you? Okay. I will hold things up then. That's crazy that you can't hear. I wonder why that's happening. Okay, so you should have gotten the packet, right? We'll just do this a little different. And in the packet has the instructions on how you go about doing the 12 Magical Nights, right? The most important part of this whole thing is actually writing down your wishes, right? So tonight, the winter solstice doesn't start until tomorrow. So tomorrow night, which is Sunday here in the United States, you would be starting your burning of your wishes. You want to write down 13 wishes. And the reason we do 13 is because you're going to burn the first 12, and the 13th one is the one that you're responsible for working towards manifesting in 2026. Not that you're not responsible for all of the 13 wishes, because these need to be something that is closely related to what your outcome for 2026 should be. I like to write these wishes as if they are in a way that as if they've already come true. So I don't say, I wish for something. I say, I am finding or I have accomplished whatever the wish is. It's just a little bit different way of doing, of setting an intention as if it's already happened. You're then going to take your wishes and you're going to put them on something, some sort of paper or product that you can burn. A couple of options that I really like is I use the little incense papers. Um, and that has been what I've been writing them on. They burn really cleanly and leave minimal ashes, and they smell good in the process. Another option would be to write them on bay leaves. Bay leaves have been used for centuries in manifestation, and so that's another good way. If you don't have either one of those, write it on just some simple, copy paper or a piece of paper, and then you're going to want to put all of these in a jar. So essentially take all of your wishes, all 13 of them, put them in a jar, and each night, without looking at them, you're going to draw out one and burn it. Now, I used to do it where I didn't actually look at the wish, but yesterday I happened to watch a person or a video about how speaking things into existence casts the spell or manifests things and puts it out into the world. So this year, I think instead of blindly burning my wishes, I'm actually going to look at them and speak them into existence before I burn them. Either option, I think, is fine. I have heard it done both ways. So I have never burned the bay leaves. So definitely do this in a safe location in a vessel that is not going to catch fire. Maybe take them outside or whatever the case may be. The incense papers burn very cleanly, and those are usually not difficult to do in the house. So I usually write on these with a little pencil rather than ink, only because I worry about the chemicals that are in ink burning. So that's what you're going to do is prep all of those and put them in a jar or a vessel that you can then draw one out and each night. And then, each night kind of at the end of the night before I go to bed is usually when I've been doing this. And I just draw one out as the very last, day, light a candle, burn it, and really use that time to kind of meditate on the what I want to bring forth for myself into 2026. At the end of all of it, I have actually been keeping my ashes in a little jar. I didn't throw them out. You can keep them, you can throw them out, you can bury them in the backyard, do whatever you want with them. But I just, bought a little tiny ginger jar, and I've been sweeping the ashes into the ginger jar each year. And then on the 13th night, you'll have one wish left over, and that's the one that you ultimately are responsible for. And this goes on the website, 12 Magical Nights, where you signed up. It goes through this entire process and explains kind of the process behind all of this. A couple of other things that I did this last year is I actually created spots in my journal to tuck in cards. You could pull oracle cards. You could pull challenge cards. This last year, I did both. I had a challenge card deck that had challenges for the month, and I tucked one in each month that I wanted to do. I had mantra cards that I pulled one for each month and tucked them in. There's all kinds. You could pull an oracle card. There's a spirit junkie, which has really cute cards that I just tucked in that have, basically reminders on for the year. Now, if you don't have any, or you don't want to run out and grab any of those, if you don't have any on hand, I did include in your packet both journaling card prompts as well as some challenge cards for the year. So you can print those out and then put those in, or just write them into your journal as well. So that's an option too. If you don't want to, you don't have either of those things, those exist, and it's easy to use or create things, plan a cozy, trip or getaway, go for a walk in nature. And I just take these and tuck them in throughout the month. So again, it's in that process of going back to your journal on a monthly basis to check in on your wishes and your progress. It gives you an intention or something to do that you can just kind of furthers the whole process along. So I am going to work through with you how to put together one of these journals, essentially. And as I mentioned, you have a complete graphics pack. If you don't feel like putting together a journal, that's perfectly fine. You can get commercially put together journals and notebooks to do this process in. There's nothing wrong with that. Go to the craft store or your paper goods store or whatever. Even, a spiral bound art journal is fine. It all basically, you're able to do the same thing. So don't feel like you have to create a journal. That's just something fun and creative that I do that I felt like made the whole process that much just more fun in general, is to go create a journal. So essentially, I'm going to show you how to create a journal in the easiest fashion that you possibly can. This is a prototype that I created, and unfortunately, it would be better if I could turn you guys around, but I don't think I can. This is a prototype that I created, and it's just using regular copy paper or watercolor paper, and it's some on-hand materials of some cardboard that you can, from any available box that you have, around the house. I'm going to show you how you can put these together into signatures. So essentially, most art journals or junk journals or even old books, they are made with grouping of paper, right, that are folded. And you can just use regular copy paper. I made this in a way that you kind of minimizes the need to do a whole bunch of cutting. Essentially, you would take your piece of paper and fold it in half, right? And then you would stick 3 or 4 pieces of paper together into what is one signature. For this project, you need at least 10 pieces of paper at a minimum. And that's if you want to do one spread per month. If you want to do more than that, obviously add some more paper into your pile. But essentially, you're going to end up with 3 signatures, right? The first signature is going to have 2 pieces of paper, and each of the other signatures will have 4 pieces of paper. And essentially what you're going to do, and they just get folded in half, right? And so that's where we start, is looking at our actual signatures. If you don't have copy paper, here in the United States, we get a lot of what I call scrap paper or trash paper in packaging. Amazon loves to send paper. That's a great way to reuse and recycle things that are available commercially. We get a lot of stuff in the mail that I think that could easily be reused. So this was just a package, and this I'm going to reuse to make a cover with. Cereal boxes make great covers. Any kind of cardboard makes great covers. And so, look around the house before you go, buy a bunch of things, because we all have a lot of material possessions at our fingertips that could easily be used to make one of these. And so it doesn't have to be super precious. They're relatively easy to make. Essentially, what you're going to do is, once you get your 3 signatures, we're going to put these together. We're going to attach the signatures so that they are attached together. We can do this in a couple of different ways. The easiest thing to do is to get some embroidery floss or even thread or yarn and just wrap it around the signature. So here's the signature with multiple pages, right? You can wrap it around and just tie it in the middle. And that kind of keeps that signature together so your pages aren't falling out. Another option would be to actually take the embroidery floss and put it on a needle right? And actually sew through the signatures. They're only 4 pages deep at the largest signature. And so it's pretty easy if you have a big needle to stick it through that paper, wrap it around, and then I just tie them off. Another option would be to actually staple. You could staple the pages if you have a wide stapler, or even if you don't, you have a stapler that you can um, open up. You can staple directly onto the page by just using your stapler and stapling through. I would put some piece of cardboard or something behind because when you staple through, you'll have to then turn your paper over and actually fold the ends of your staples down. So that's another option. So any of those would work. You could glue the pages together, but they may not lay flat when it comes down to it, because what we want to do, and I think the secret to this particular book is that you're actually able to lay it lays completely flat open so you can work in it, which I really love and makes it really great. So once you have your signatures all put together, then what we're going to do is actually figure out what we need as far as our cover is concerned. As I mentioned, cardboard works great. Cut out a piece of cardboard that's the exact size of your paper. Line it up on one end because you need it to be lined up with one end. It could be longer on the long side. If you, especially if you want to add tabs like I did, I added actually tabs to the top of my pages rather than down the side because I had space on the top. I didn't want to cut down this cardboard. But if you don't want to add tabs or anything like that, then make your cardboard the exact same size. You just want the spine area to line up exactly where it needs to be. And then what we're going to do is in between the signatures, you're going to glue the front signature to the inside of the cardboard. Then you're going to have, your release mantra. You're going to have your 12 wishes, and then the 13th wish, right? And a journal page. So that's the first part. Then you're going to actually glue your two signatures to each other. And this is what's creating the book effect. And then we've got each one page for each month. And when you get to another signature, glue the pages together. Essentially, it will then create an entire book. So my inside covers are glued to my cover, or my inside page is first page is glued to my cover on both sides. And then each month or each where the signatures were I've glued the pages together so that way it creates a continuous book and you don't have any gaps in the actual book page. That's going to, at the ends, leave an open spine, right? You can leave it this way if you don't mind that, or you can take a piece of fabric or some additional paper and we can actually take and cover the spine with a piece of fabric. Now it's up to you on how you want to decorate your, we just take a piece of fabric and cover over that outside edge and you won't be able to see the spine and all the inner workings of the book, essentially. I will upload, since now it would be easier if you guys could see and see me go through it, but I'll upload some photos, step-by-step photos of the process to the website so it's a little easier to follow along with this. So tonight, what you want to do is first, of course, work on getting your wishes written out and get ready and prepared to do your nightly stuff. And then go from there. And you don't have to have your book ready, for tomorrow. Obviously, if you want to, that's fine. But this is something that you're going to carry with you for the next year. Or have readily available to work in for the next year. So if you don't get this done like right away, it's not the end of the world. A couple of other options. I just painted the cardboard cover and I'll end up doing, a cover design. Where did my other one go? Like I did with this one, I just painted the outside cover. I made a cover design and I used the fabric on the spine to cover up the ugly part basically of the spine. This one I did doesn't lay super flat, but flat enough, which is why I changed the design. And I will write out the step-by-step process because this one lays completely flat in the way it's designed. And it's really easy. If you've never put together a book, this is probably the easiest way to do this. Otherwise, if this is not something you want to do, by all means, go get a commercially, made journal. Those are really easy. These, commercially made journals are wonderful to work in and work great for the same purpose. Put your wishes in the front, add your 13th wish so you know what the 13th wish was, and then add to the I just did one spread per month essentially in my journal. If you want to dress up your commercially made journals, you can make a fabric cover for it. I just took some fabric that I had and I used the Amazon package for my stuffing inside the fabric and then just sewed it closed just to give it something a little bit thicker. And I just took some gauze and a couple of eyelets. And now my journal is, looks a little nicer, but it's just the plain commercially made journal that you can add in. The one that I'm probably going to use this year, I found a book, an old book that says the better part, and I've taken it apart. And I now am going to use the book cover in the same way and glue my journal pages to the inside of the book cover, essentially. So that's an option too. Really, this is a very personal creation that you guys can work to build something that means something, is meaningful to you. I think that the process of going through and actually creating the book for me was the intent, really taking the time to set the intention. This is now an art piece that I will keep forever, right? And carry on. And because it was something that I created, it was something I revisited on a regular basis throughout the year. Any questions? I apologize that you guys can't hear me when I turn the camera around. That's really frustrating. Like I mentioned, I would just go through and find, if you have copy paper that works, or I like to use cardstock because it's a little thicker and holds up really better. A couple of other options and things that you can use. The manila folders, even old manila folders, work great. I created some that I did trifolds with that open up and actually have the papers and things on the inside. So that's another easy way to create a custom book. Same way with that, with manila folders. I covered manila folders with some tissue paper and actually made it a trifold that you can flip, out pages. And then I just used random, pages that kind of I could, didn't, I could just paint over or write on top of and things of that nature. So that's another option. And this is just made with manila folders and some that overlap to create a trifold, and put in a couple of little grommets to hold in. I've actually made it so that I can pull the pages out if I want. So that's just on some stretchy string. That would be another one that you could put a readily made journal in. So just something fun and creative that allows you to be able to have something that you can hold on to. Does anybody have any questions on the actual 12 nights ritual itself?
No.
Awesome. Because that's really the most important part of this whole thing is actually doing the 12 nights ritual and going through that process. And again, it starts tomorrow. So you have another day to kind of sit with your intentions and come up with your list. I actually had 14 and had to figure out a way to combine some of my wishes together. And again, I write these all as if they are things that have already happened in my intention setting, because I think that's vitally important that you are envisioning yourself actually having accomplished that thing. The 13th one is, of course, yours to work on, but you know, it's really important that you choose things that you could actually accomplish, because the 13th one you're gonna end up with. So, um, solving world hunger is probably not something that's um, you could do on your own. So instead of, I would like to solve world hunger, maybe you look at, I would like to figure out a way to create something in my own community to, help ensure that people around me don't have, don't go hungry or something of that nature. Make sure they're doable. I want $10 million. If you end up with number 13, you've got to figure out how to make $10 million, not outside of the realm of possibility, but it might make for a very challenging 2026. So just be realistic with your goals or your wishes. As you, because these are very personal to you. Um, and I, like I said, I always write them in a way that makes it so that you could, it's something that's already happened. The universe also, just in my experience, will put roadblocks in your way if it's something that the universe feels like is not good for you. And I'm a firm believer in that. There were a few things that I wanted to accomplish in 2025, and the universe very quickly told me it was not the right thing for me. And so it has an interesting way of sending you signals that maybe something was really the intention, or wasn't an intention that was in your best interest. So I think that's an important part as well. So um, I will throw up on the Facebook or on the website step-by-step instructions on putting together the book, so it's a little easier to understand if you get lost. I did create a Facebook group for
Yeah.
everybody if you guys want to check in, and let me know how things are going. And if everybody's okay with it, I will probably be sending out an email on a regular basis just to check in with everybody and see how things are going, especially for the next 10 days. Um, and I look forward to, I hope that this experience in creating the 12 magical nights, if you haven't already done it, as amazing as I know it is for you, and that that you guys get what you are wishing for in 2026. I think 2026 is going to be a pivotal year for a lot of people, so that's exciting.
I think I'm just going to find it hard to find 13 wishes.
I know. Yeah, I I came up with 8 real quick. Just so that
Yeah,
no. Yes. My camera, I have to be very careful because it will,
zoom in.
yeah, it zooms in if I move my hand. See, it's the hand movement thing. For some reason. And I talk with my hands, so that's great. But yeah, I came up with 8 really quickly, and I had to sit and really think about, like, how do I want 2026 to look? And that's where I think some of the challenge cards, and especially the journaling cards, if you go back through
Mhm.
those, ask some questions that might prompt you, a wish.
Yeah,
And so I flipped back through these, you know, look back at what you did in 2026 or didn't accomplish in 2025, that you would have liked to accomplish. And they don't have to be huge wishes either. One of my wishes that I put on here is, I am finding joy, peace, and balance every day.
yeah.
That's an important one for me, is
Yeah, it's
that,
try not to overthink it, isn't it, really?
yeah,
Just so, I'm sitting there going, oh, what could I, but like something simple like that,
yeah,
you not overthinking and going, no, it's still nice, isn't it?
absolutely. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, just some simple things on the list definitely help in general. And, I think life is stressful enough. I think that we sometimes set these very lofty goals. And especially, I think that's why resolutions don't work. New Year's resolutions tend to get forgotten within the first 3 weeks of January, is because we set ourselves up for failure in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So, um, and this is just a little bit different process of doing that, and really staying true to yourself, and what you want out of your life, and make some positive changes. While the 13th wish is supposed to be yours, right, to claim, for keeping track of the other 12 is important as well. So I think it's important. That's why I tend to write them all down and then put them back in the book afterwards, and speak them into existence and write them as if they've already been accomplished, is I think important. So feel free to send me an email if you have any questions throughout the process. Like I mentioned, I'll put it on the website, the step-by-step to create a journal. I also have on my YouTube page a lot of YouTube's videos on how to create junk journals and art journals. So that's an option too if you're interested. It's something that I have been doing for a while now. It's not my primary business by any means, but I do have it's under Junk Journal AI, and have a variety of videos on how to put together these journal books. I appreciate you joining me today. It went pretty quickly because I wasn't able to walk you through the actual creation of the journal.
It's
But
okay. It's
yep.
still very informational,
Okay,
and
good.
I look forward to seeing what you put on your Facebook page because I have joined that as well. So
Absolutely.
look
Yeah.
forward to seeing things shared on there.
Yeah, and I will upload the step-by-step guide to the Facebook page as well, so that way you guys can see it. Look
Great.
around because I came up with all kinds of things that you could make a journal with that are just basically trash. Trash papers, trash papers from the Amazon packages. This is all great paper. I saved all of that. Boxes and containers and cereal boxes can be made into journals. All kinds of cardboard. I made one out of an old canvas, painting, like a painting that I took apart and made it into a cover. I love these. These are this like covering these with some fabric that you have on hand. It's puffy and it makes a little bit of a crinkly noise, which is fun. So, and that was super simple and easy to put together if you sew. But thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it. And I
And
will put up
thank you.
more stuff on the Facebook page and we'll go from there.
Yeah, wonderful. And I think it's nice actually, just quickly, if you
Yeah.
make your own journal, it's more
Yep.
you've put your intent into that for its purpose as well because you've created it. So I think it's lovely because I've got hundreds of books, hundreds and hundreds that,
Oh yeah.
but actually making it yourself is
Yes.
is so much more special,
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's something that I think that because it becomes the reason I like art journals so much is it is we don't often get to experience touching art. Art is always on the wall in like a
Yeah,
gallery or whatnot. And the interactive nature of creating a journal, and flipping through an art journal or a junk journal, I don't know, it's something special about being able to discover the things that you tuck into the journal later or whatever the case may be, is just it really is a work of art that you can actually touch and play with,
yeah.
which is I think the best part of the whole junk journal or art journal experience. So thank you guys, I appreciate your time today.
Well,
And
thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for letting
absolutely,
us join you.
absolutely, and I look forward to hearing from you guys on the Facebook group. So keep in
Oh,
touch, and let me
won-
know how the process goes for you.
lovely.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
We'll
you.
talk to everybody later.
Bye. Thank you. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye bye.